Now to Ukraine, and its successful attack on Russian airbases earlier this month has prompted some other governments to question their own ability to resist a wave of attacks from the air. NATO is trying to learn from Ukraine's action as drones play an increasingly important role in national defence strategies.
Operation Spider's Web earlier this month, one of Ukraine's major military successes. Small, cheap drones, taking out billions of dollars worth of Russian bombers. The U.S. took notice, Congress questioning the Secretary of Defense.
I'm very worried about our air bases, where we have secure assets. Mr. Secretary, can we defend them today if they were to have a similar attack?
We're certainly very focused on that, ma'am. And we're learning every day from Ukraine.
The war in Ukraine has already been transformed by drones. One Ukrainian commander said drones account for at least 60% of enemy Russian casualties. Defense is a major focus. U.S. and NATO air bases hold high-value targets like fighter bombers. The commander of Ukraine's drone forces gave a dire assessment of their vulnerability earlier this year.
From what I see and hear, not a single NATO army is ready to resist the cascade of drones now.
Hiding military assets is key. Over 3+ years of war, Ukraine has adapted to the nearly constant presence of Russian drones, in part by using tree cover and camouflage to cover its assets near the front line. It's also developed capacities to jam Russian signals and track enemy drones. There's also a proposal within NATO to use drones as an early warning and deterrent force on borders. NATO countries that border Russia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Norway, and Poland have proposed a Baltic drone wall, shown here in red, a system of drones, sensors, jamming, and tracking equipment. On offense, drone capabilities depend in large part on production. NATO doesn't release its own figures, but Ukraine has drastically ramped up its capacities and is set to produce 5 million drones this year. Within NATO, Germany is working closely with Ukraine on drone development, and the EU says it's committed to strengthening member countries' ability to produce drones. Testing in the real world is also key to Ukraine's success with drones. Its prototypes are sent onto the battlefield immediately and tested against Russian capabilities. The army then quickly integrates those results in its production. Training is crucial. NATO has run a long simulation drill this year to train on drone warfare, and has a dedicated learning center in Poland to learn lessons from Ukraine and implement them fast. Denmark has also sent its own troops to Ukraine to learn drone warfare tactics. However, NATO is a large alliance that requires coordinating 32 countries. With drone warfare changing by the week, that makes planning for the future even more difficult.